Welcome to Get Lost Traveling, and if you're new here, my name is David and I do travel videos. Recently, there's been a lot of things happening with the coronavirus pandemic, and the San Francisco tourist industry has been pretty much wrecked because of that. And today, I'm going to take you to 10 of the San Francisco tourist attractions that are empty and abandoned by tourists. Number 10, Alamo Square. So I'm here at Alamo Park right now, and Alamo Park is actually famous for our painted ladies here. They're the buildings that are Victorian, and they're more famous because of the fact that they're on Full House. Those are pretty beautiful buildings, and they're really expensive. So just a little bit of information about Alamo Square. It is a dog-friendly park, and it's actually frequented by a lot of locals as well as tourists. The tourists come for the painted ladies. The locals come to meet up with their friends and maybe have a picnic or something like that. So there's something for everybody here. Right now though, there's very little tourists. Mostly it's locals coming out walking their dogs, or just kind of walking around getting some exercise and getting outdoors, because with the new order for the 6 counties and now California itself, we are basically on a shelter-in-place order until further notice for California. But I think for Oakland, San Francisco, the Bay Area, I think our order ends on April 7th. And I think that's when everybody's supposed to go back to work, but it's still very uncertain right now. Everything's pretty much up in the air. And mainly, there are locals here, and yeah, it's really nice. Coit Tower right over there. Number 9, Transamerica Pyramid. The parking situation downtown is pretty empty. Not a lot of parking. This is just right next to the Transamerica Pyramid. It's really kind of interesting these days. Anyways, we're here at the Transamerica Pyramid, and this building was built in 1972 by William Pereira. It stands at 853 feet, which is about 260 meters. After the Golden Gate Bridge, it's probably the most iconic structure in the city. So I was just over there at the Transamerica building, pyramid. The area I'm at is actually close to Chinatown. It's actually part of Chinatown. And look at this. Look at here. There's nobody. It's empty. This is where usually there's some tourists that visits and stuff. It's completely abandoned by the tourists because there's really no tourists around. It's kind of a ghost town. Yeah. This is really kind of, it's really kind of sad. So the next location I'm headed off to is Lombard Street. It's known as the crookedest street in the world, but it's not. Anyways, let's go over there. What we're gonna do is, what I'm planning on doing is actually to drive down Lombard Street first, and then I'll get out and then take a look at the surrounding areas and stuff like that. My prediction is it's abandoned by all the tourists. Number 8, Lombard Street. Okay, so we are actually approaching Lombard right now, and normally if there's a lot of tourists around, this whole area would be filled with people lining up, and it actually takes up to about half an hour on some really crowded days to get here, which is the entrance to Lombard, which is supposed to be the crookedest street in the world. But let's go down it right now, which is completely empty. Completely empty. Look at this. It's a Saturday afternoon and I'm the only car waiting to get down here. It's freaking crazy that this is the case. This is the case right now. I'm the only one on this street. And normally, I think the capacity is usually about 250 cars per hour. But right now, there's only one. No tourists. It's a totally abandoned. It's a ghost town here. It's absolutely a ghost town. But, and if you notice, the paved street, the street is actually paved with red brick. But no cars. It's kind of crazy. But let's find parking, and there is parking around here as well. Normally there is absolutely no parking, and there's signs that tell you that there's no parking at all, but I just found parking right immediately, and I'm gonna park the car right now. So as you saw me driving down Lombard, there's only a few people here. It's usually really packed. It's crazy. And this is actually supposed to be the crookedest street in the entire world, but in reality it's really not. There's another street in San Francisco. It's actually more crooked and actually steeper than Lombard. I'm gonna have to find a time to actually go there. I'm not sure about time today to do it, but in the next few days I could go to those places as well. Has anybody actually been to the city where it's like this? Or, I mean, I'm just really curious. I mean, if you've been to the city and you've seen the city during like normal days and stuff like that, and how different it is, I know myself, but I mean, share your experience. Let me know what you think. I'm really curious. So I was just talking to the family down there, and they're from the East Bay, in the Bay Area. Basically, they've never been to Lombard Street before, and this is their first time, and what an experience. The residents are just having a great old time right now, doing things that we can't do. You definitely cannot run down Lombard during regular days, but this is amazing though. You're not supposed to be walking up the road like this. Yeah, I'm not gonna get run over by a cable car or any other car. Watch me get run over by a car. Are you gonna make it up there? Do you want some help? Oh shoot. So the guy's making a delivery, and helped him with his bike. We have left it here, and he's making a McDonald's delivery. So delivery service is a great way to practice social distancing, which is a key word today, because I think we're going to probably talk a little bit more about that as we move along in the day. Number 7, Coit Tower. So I'm at Coit Tower right now, and the tower itself is right up there, and the tower is 210 feet tall, which is about 68 meters, and it was built in 1933. It's actually got one of the best views of the city, other than Twin Peaks. I've been up there before, but unfortunately today it's closed. It's very quiet though. Just not a lot of people around today at all. It's there's Columbus up there, and normally all the parking spots over here are usually full, but today it's an absolutely different story, as with anywhere that is tourist related in the city. Even from here, you can see the Golden Gate Bridge. You can see the Golden Gate Bridge over there, and the bay. Angel Island is right over there, behind these large trees. So I have an Angel Island over there, and Alcatraz is right over there. So it's a beautiful city, beautiful place to visit. But especially if the tower itself is open, I think getting up there is $8, and inside there's actually a pretty nice mural all the way around the roundabout inside, and also in the center column as well. There's murals just all around in 360. It's dedicated to the firefighters who gave their lives up in some of the fires that occurred in the city of San Francisco. And this is a very, very empty Embarcadero. I mean, Coit Tower. It's a very empty Coit Tower. Number 6, Ghirardelli Square. The next location is Ghirardelli Square. And Ghirardelli Square is on the National Registry of Historic Places. It's actually one of the most iconic places in the city. There's a lot of tourists. It's also used to be the headquarters of Ghirardelli Chocolate. And Ghirardelli Chocolate is actually the 3rd largest chocolate company in America. I think the other ones that beat them is, I think it's Baker's Chocolate and Whitman's. And as with all the stores in the Bay Area, it's basically closed. Ghirardelli Square is mainly a lot of shops. There's also galleries in here and a bunch of restaurants. Everything is basically closed. There's no one here. Normally there's a lot of tourists and stuff like that. This place is, again, it's abandoned pretty much. And only a little bit of people are walking around, and they're mainly locals going out for a walk, just kind of getting some fresh air and stuff like that. The police are out trying to enforce things, but I think for the most part they're really kind of not bothering anybody who is not really breaking social distancing protocols. And there's really not a lot of gatherings or anything like that. I think they're just coming here just to, you know, I mean, I give them credit when credit's due. It's good that people aren't getting harassed. Normal people who are actually just out and about are not being bothered, which is great. But I also think that there's a lot of people that are talking about that everybody should stay at home, and I'm not sure if that's the solution. Because if you really think about it, there's talks about like the length of time that it would take for a vaccine to be manufactured, created. And at this point, they're looking at a year to 18 months out. And so social distancing is probably going to be the normal from this point on. You're definitely not going to be seeing people sharing food with each other or drinks like that, because that's just something that I would say that's a bit past, you know. So yeah, I think you should definitely. I'm not advocating for people who are sick to come out and spread their germs and their infection to other people, or those who have come in contact with the virus to do that. I do believe that those individuals should stay home, and it's probably best for them if they self-quarantine or self-isolate. But the fact is that if you're healthy, there's really no reason why you can't go out and just walk around, not bother anybody, and just do your own thing. You know, I think these are the new norms. And unfortunately, I think if we're not practicing this and really reinforcing this, I think once the order ends, I think there's gonna be a lot of problems. Because really, when you're at home and you're isolating yourself with your household and your family, you're not really practicing social distancing. And that's really something that we need to really reinforce as we move forward. Anyways, it's time to move on to our next location. Number 5. Riding the cable car. So the next tourist attraction on my list is actually not a place. It's actually something to do, and it's the cable car. Unfortunately, the cable car, as of I think this week, is no longer running. They have actually stopped running the cable car, which is really kind of sucks because I really kind of wanted to take the cable car if it was available. But basically, this is the turnabout. We can go into here. We're not going to get in trouble because there's nothing coming. So this is the cable car turnabout point, and this is actually in the Fisherman's Wharf. There's three lines to the cable car. The one is the Powell Hyde, which is this line here. The other one is Powell and Mason, and that is actually a turnaround point is in North Beach. And then the last line is California, and that one is a weird one. It doesn't go anywhere, just up and down California. But yeah, this is basically it. There's no nobody waiting for the cable car because there's no tourists around. Okay guys, I'm editing this video right now and it's really long. I've got some really good footage of some really famous places, and I'll post the second half of this in a couple days. If you enjoyed this video, I think you'll enjoy that one too. Please slap a like on this video and share it. It really does help it get more views. And subscribe and turn on notification to see more of my travel videos. Thank you for getting lost with me, and I'll see you in part 2. So the next location I'm going to head to is Lombard Street. It's actually the crookedest, it's supposed to be the crookedest street in the world. The crookedest street in the world. It messes me up every single time I say it. Okay, so I'm on the way to